To all who come, welcome. Disney is a time machine that takes us back, connects us together, and shows us that not even wishing upon a star ever gets old. Now come sit with your friends Jonelle, Sean, and Megan as we deep dive into the heart of Disney.
How angry this movie makes me.
I mean, well, you got emotional during this movie, apparently. I fell asleep to it 3 times before I was finally able to watch it fully through.
This movie makes me angry.
This movie makes me sad. Hi, friends. Welcome to Christmas season.
Ho, ho, ho.
Who wouldn't go?
Ho, ho, ho.
I mean, I wouldn't personally go up on the housetop. For those of you who are wondering what the actual heck we're talking about the Santa Claus trilogy, starting with the first one.
Yes.
And
Merry Christmas.
I can't believe how bored I was with this one.
I don't see how you got bored.
To be fair, okay, so I'm fully medicated again.
Enough said.
Yes.
yeah,
But I don't know, okay. As usual, YouTube first impressions.
I mean, okay, so I remember having these movies in my house growing up. So,
I prefer the second one and the third.
oh, well, I had a little anecdote. But we had this green plastic box that you store things in. And there was a specific one that was full of Christmas movies and Christmas books, and they were all all child books. And there was a biscuit book. Do you remember the biscuit books with the golden dog?
Yes.
There was a scratch and sniff one.
Yeah.
And then the Santa Claus movies, we had the trilogy, and I remember always looking at Tim Allen and being like, but he doesn't look like Santa Claus, because it's a picture of him going, and there's Christmas lights around him, and then he's like Tim Allen before the transformation.
Oh, first movie, yeah.
Yeah. That was the box art for the entire thing, and I don't know. I think in my head I have more memories with the second and the third one, because the first one, my parents had this really weird I guess it wasn't a weird rule, because my siblings and I were adopted, and they were afraid of specific movies triggering that, so we weren't allowed to watch Dumbo, because they were afraid of when Dumbo gets taken away from his mom, they were really afraid of us having a big emotional response to that. And when my mom watched it for the first real time and not just glancing at it, she was like, oh, the scene with the judge, she was like, we're not gonna watch that very often, because the whole movie, because again, we're afraid that will trigger something, although we were all way too young to remember it. She was I don't know if she was afraid of the hard questions or something, but she was just nope, you guys already know the context, we're not gonna watch the first one.
I mean, so I definitely remember in detail every time where they finally got to the North Pole. And then that's basically the time that I normally fall asleep to this movie every time. And that was the same as a kid. And then I'd wake up and the movie was done. So then I went to the second one and I stayed awake for that one. And then I had to stay awake for the third one and I finished the third. And then normally I would just go through the VHS tapes and I saw a picture of one of the actors or actresses that I like, and I'm like, they're good. I'm going to watch the movie because they're in the movie. And then that was it.
See, I didn't watch this movie too much growing up. It was normally the second one. My entire family loves the second one. Which
I love the second one.
I think my family's favorite was the third one.
Interesting. That's a hot take.
I don't know.
But
the third one's interesting.
But
okay.
But as I was saying though, for me, watching it now, especially now as a dad, oh my god, does this movie make me angry and upset?
Why? Dinner at Denny's?
No. I mean, okay, so it's the part where, so Charlie is really excited about his dad being Santa Claus, and Neil is a psychologist and is really worried about that. And before the whole North Pole thing, obviously Charlie was not super into dad, and then he becomes really into dad, and the ex-wife and Neil are ganging up on Scott to the point where they took away his visitation rights. and like they're like, how dare you, Scott, like change your appearance, like gain all this weight, change the color of your hair to like match like Charlie's like vision of you.
Well, so what makes me what angers me about this movie, especially as like a new dad, is like no matter what through the entire movie, you see that Scott cares about Charlie from beginning to end. I know in the beginning, I have a feeling Megan would be the one to say this, or that you would be the one to say it. Would be like you would probably argue otherwise at the beginning of the movie, but the reason I acknowledge, like I can tell that he cares, is from the instant that he finds out Charlie was told Santa doesn't exist. And he immediately took it up with Laura, his ex-wife, being like, why was I not part of this decision? Like, he saw that as such a key part of Charlie's childhood that he wasn't included on. And seeing that basically Laura and Neil more or less kept on pushing it's almost like they purposely pushed Scott out. Like, I know they try to make it appear as if he doesn't care in the movie because, like, he's at that business party and he calls Laura to be like, oh yeah, I'm stuck in traffic when there's, like, no one on the road and things like that. But, I mean, I really don't blame him for being upset given the treatment of Laura and Neil to him. But to see how far it went to take away his visitation rights, which I'm sorry, no matter how bad of a relationship me and Megan were to ever get to, I would be absolutely livid if she were to ever try to take like any form of visitation away from from Squish that I had.
Yeah, no,
I don't know. My father wasn't allowed to have visitation with me, but he also didn't want visitation with me.
The difference is, like, I know Sean as a person. Like, they were married, and they, like, obviously had Charlie. Like, they obviously had some sort of relation, right? And I actually would disagree with you. Said that I would be like, oh, he doesn't love Charlie. I think he did at the beginning of the movie. I think he didn't have an outlet to show it, because it's very obvious to me that, like you were saying, Laura and Neil were playing like the good guys with air quotations, because they kind of like raised themselves up on a pedestal, right? Like, Scott only gets to see you every once in a while, and Charlie's always like, oh my gosh, like, I don't want to be here, can you come pick me up early? And I feel like Scott just kind of like randomly gets him. Like, he probably was like, oh my gosh, I have this giant party and then I have to like go home and I'm gonna cook a turkey, I've never done that, oh my gosh, it burned, now what? Like, I see that he's trying, but like he doesn't have that outlet. In the second like they bond over, like,
he doesn't have enough time with Charlie to actually have a connection, because it's clear that he doesn't have like a set visitation where it's like a split custody deal. It's an every once in a while type thing.
It's mom got remarried, this is your father now.
Yeah, with Neil. Yep.
And like, it really makes me angry, like seeing all of their reaction, because let's take this as adults, okay? Let's think about this as adults.
I was like, does this make you more angry with the ex-wife?
Yes, she pisses me off in this movie.
Also,
because
Neil pisses me off in this movie.
Yes. But like, let's think about this as adults, okay? Let's say we're gonna go hypotheticals here. Okay. Let's say Megan and I were to split up. For some unknown reason, you two got together for some reason and were raising Casper Jr. And then,
all right, my lesbian lover.
Let's say me and
wait, I'm pretty sure this happened in the past. I'm pretty sure lesbian Megan and
Sean, you don't want this.
But okay,
I'm too weird for your wife.
Let's say for some reason you guys are pulling them, cutting me out and stuff like that. I finally have a moment with Casper Jr. where we're really starting to bond. And that more, let's say it's a Santa Claus situation. I end up becoming Santa Claus. But you guys obviously don't believe that. You think
How
you'll get-
dare you? We're lesbians.
How dare you?
Okay, but as adults,
Lesbians don't believe in Santa.
as adults, if you were to see all of a sudden weight change, hair color change, facial hair change, all of those things, why would your immediate assumption be that I'm changing those things versus, hey, what the F is going on?
Because he said, like in the movie, Scott Calvin says, I gained 45 pounds in a week.
That is way too much weight for it to be like a naturally occurring thing. As adults, there should have been a greater conversation
Of like,
of
are
like,
you okay,
like
bro?
what is actually wrong. Like clearly this much change in such a short amount of time is not like normal.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
doesn't make sense for this level of change to occur to make Charlie like you. Like as an adult, as adults they should have handled that way better than they did, rather than just assuming that he's doing it on purpose to feed the Santa Claus stuff.
Okay. This is why I have a problem with Neil. He is a psychologist,
Psychiatrist.
psychiatrist. And so his whole job is like dealing with people with like mental health struggles, right? And so I feel like
Me, who wants to get a diagnosis on their mental health problems, so I go to a psychiatrist who can diagnose me by doing a full in-depth analysis.
And then charge you for it.
yes.
But you know what? It was very insightful, which now my therapist is wanting me to go get it redone because she's questioning if I really have ADHD or PTSD.
But anyways,
First of all, he was like, "Hey, come like see me," and gave him his card. That is like, I had that happen to me. I went to a family therapist who knew a member of my family that effed it up. That's not supposed to be a thing.
nope, that breaks the conflict of interest.
Yeah, conflict of interest. So one, that's not a thing. And two, like, as a psychiatrist, I feel like Neil should have been more like, hey, like this isn't normal. Like this isn't normal behavior from like an adult, right? Especially since we know of they had some sort of relationship before this movie, and she probably talked about him at some point during their marriage. If not, then damn.
And the fact that she's getting married again.
Or is married again.
Yeah, is married again. She should have like would have at least been like, Scott works with toys. Scott is like traveling a lot. Like just stuff. Like, and he should have been at like, this isn't like normal.
Well, and I feel like I know in future movies you grow to like Neil.
Yeah.
He very much gives like Arthur Weasley vibes in those movies. In the future movies.
Oh yeah, I was like,
but in this movie, it very much feels like he is feeding Laura the thoughts that they actually end up having.
mhm.
Like, rather than Laura, I feel like anytime Laura gives any kind of accommodation to Scott and
Mhm.
like allow him to be a dad, let them parent for a moment, Neil always has an issue. Like when they went to drop Charlie off at the beginning of the movie.
See, that was my only like major gripe that I had with Neil is he makes Scott sound like an abuser.
He does, but he doesn't like it whenever Laura gives any kind of leeway. Because he was mad when Laura went to talk to Scott when dropping off Charlie. Was mad when she like anytime there was some kind of like, yeah, it's okay, you can do this, or yes, you can do this. He always very visually was upset about it. And I'm like, okay, it's clear you don't like Scott and you don't want him in the picture. And given the thoughts and opinions of that they're having about Scott throughout the whole movie, I can't help but feel like he's the one pushing them and that he's honestly being more manipulative of Laura.
I was like, the way how Neil is trying to portray Scott as the abuser really portrays Neil as the abuser.
Mm-hmm.
I also, as a non-neurotypical human who has very niche interests, the Haunted Mansion, I get really mad when they're like, he's too focused on the North Pole and Santa. I'm like, bro, that's like such a like normal kid thing to do. that is such like a normal like it's like, oh, he's playing reindeer in his bedroom. Oh no. You know what I used to do? I used to play with golf balls. Because my dad had Axis golf balls that he did not use. And I used to pretend that I was Pongo and Perdita from like 101 Dalmatians and move those balls all around the garage. Because I love that movie and I would recreate it. I probably did the same thing with like some Santa Claus movie.
Mhm.
I remember I had a stand-up microphone as a kid, and it like sang Hannah Montana songs. So I would like pretend to be in a Hannah Montana concert, and I was the rock star of the stage. And then I even remember trying to like make my own song, and like it was cringy.
Well, and like, let's take like put this into like today's time. Let's say streaming still was not a thing. Okay, normal cable television. Okay, if you expect the Santa Claus talk to stop in January post Christmas, what occurs in July?
Christmas in July.
Well, no, it wasn't. I feel like back then during that time wasn't like as much of a trend.
Late 90s and 2000s? Yes, it was.
Well, I never noticed it where I lived.
I did, because they would always play like the Rudolph movies, Rudolph Shiny New Year, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Rudolph and Frosty's Christmas in July, something like that. Like, there was movies around that.
See, during Christmas time, for me, it was always like at school, we were having to prepare our like whatever song that we were going to sing at school. And then we had to like prepare a scene from Charlie Brown and
Oh yes, Charlie Brown.
yeah, and like do all of these really cringe-worthy things, and then like I just remember that like the feeling of just like it's Christmas time, that means you watch Christmas movies, and then I'm like, I like this actor, so I will watch the Christmas movie because I like the actor.
I stopped watching Christmas movies in college because Christmas time was final season and I didn't have time. And I used to be like,
Ooh, I gotta show you some good Christmas movies though.
awesome. I can't wait to hear all your recommendations because they're usually really good. That is genuine. I sound really sarcastic. I'm sorry, I had a bad day at work. But like the only like thing I did around like Christmas time was listening to Christmas music. And why? Because I didn't have time to like sit down and watch like the Santa Claus movies. And like when I came home, I was, you guys know how it is. Like after like you've like did all your finals, you had 24 hours to pack all your things to go back home. And then you get back home and it's just like, I just rotted my brain because I literally took all the information that I learned from XYZ classes and I did it all in like 3 days and now I'm exhausted. And then you have to like, all of a sudden you're stepping back into like, oh, I'm living with my family. So now you have to like step into like their dynamics. And then like, it was always super exhausting. So even if I did watch a Christmas movie, like Jonah, I'd fall asleep.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, and I believe it was like that way in high school too. I just didn't watch these Christmas movies. And so like, I think I'm kind of jealous of Charlie, who's just like, yay, Christmas. I'm like, oh man. It wasn't until we got like Lynn, I feel like Squish, where I was like, oh yeah, we can like actually like enjoy Christmas again because like now we have to put in the effort to like put the like we decorated before, but like to actually like, get into the Christmas spirit to like come up with our own traditions and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, and like and the second thing is like the premise of Santa, like the Santa side of Christmas, is
because of Coke.
well, the modern iteration of Santa, yes, but like back to like the kids thinking about Santa all year long.
Wait, Santa was because of Coke?
Okay, so you know like the like long white beard and like the red coat and stuff? It was actually like from Coca-Cola. So you know like those like
oh, I thought you were meaning like snorting Coke.
No. Like his redesign, the one that we all think of as him with like the black boots and the red coat.
That all came from Coca-Cola.
That all came from Coca-Cola in the marketing teams.
Oh.
And I'm like, that is...
Because Santa was red and white, and Coke's colors are red and white.
And they also included, like, the polar bears,
Mhm.
right? That, like, are super classic around this time of year. So, yeah, no, we have Coca-Cola to thank for, like, the modern day Santa Claus.
However, on that, though, I feel like this movie, Tim Allen, the way they designed him as Santa Claus, is, like, the pinnacle of, like, depictions of Santa Claus.
I feel like...
Like, it is grand, it is majestic, it is magical, top tier.
I feel like the scene, like the bookending scenes of, like, when he meets that little girl, and at the beginning, he's like, I am lactose intolerant, and, like, just, like, the most angry, like, oh my gosh, kid, close your eyes, go to bed, and then oh, hi, Sarah. This milk tastes sour. Oh, you remembered I'm lactose intolerant. Oh, thank you, that's so kind. Now go to bed. Is, like, the perfect, like, way to, like, show his character development from, like, oh, I have to do this, to I am so happy to be here. And yeah, I agree with you. I think that, and I love that in, like, the continuing movies, we continue to see him, like, growing as, like, the most lovable man on earth. Sean and I have had these comments where his dad will dress up as Santa Claus for, like, children in the area, and he does that for our kid now. And, like, he would kill us if we went to go see, like, a mall Santa. But I was like, if Tim Allen personally was like, I want to be Santa Claus for your kid, I would call up his dad so fast and be like, I am so sorry, but Tim Allen, the Tim Allen, wants to be Santa Claus for my baby.
Yeah, that part is probably, like, one of the things I find most special is that, like, because my dad's, like, a bigger guy, and, like, when September hits, he'll grow out his beard and not shave it at all. My mother hates it. But, like...
on Christmas Eve, he shaves it for her.
No, Christmas Day.
Christmas Day, he shaves it for her.
But it was really special to me, like, that our son's first Santa Claus pictures were his grandfather dressed as Santa,
and he was dressed in a little Santa Claus outfit, and he was so cute. Oh my god, I'm crying.
But yeah, the whole judge scene, though, just pissed me off. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I love Comet.
Comet was great.
See, this is the one thing I definitely do remember about the movie is how much I love Comet. He's my man.
I want other reindeer to get the spotlight, though. We only ever really learn about Comet, and then, like, that one baby that he has to fly.
Chet. You're not wrong, but, like, okay, on topic of the reindeers, though, I think the effects of this movie were amazing.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so
simple, but so amazing.
There was, right as they had gotten into, like, the elves making toys, I didn't realize the joke until, like, it had come, and I was like, oh my god, I'm surprised that this is in the movie.
Which one?
Where Scott is talking about, like, how much he, like, it was essentially not him pursuing one of the elves, but, like, he made a comment that sounded like it.
Oh, when he's talking to Judy, he goes, "Oh, you look good for your age," and she's like, "Thanks, but I'm seeing someone in rapping."
Yeah, I was like, damn, the elves are getting down.
Okay.
And then I'm like, but they literally look like children in this movie.
Okay, I want to talk about two major things with the elves. One, Sean told me this yesterday, and you're gonna have to rewatch the Santa Claus because apparently
You're gonna love this.
Like, since the beginning, you can find random elves in the background.
So you know how at the end of the movie, when he gets back in the sleigh and leaves, and you see, like, those kids go off and play in the street away from the crowd? Those are all elves that we have seen throughout the entire movie.
Even before, like, the Santa Claus, the Claus part.
I mean, it's a way to utilize actors.
Foreshadowing is what it is, because you know that opening scene when they're singing the Carol of the Bells song? We get a view of, like, a window with, like, some kids looking in. One of them's an elf. And it's literally like they're scattered throughout the entire movie because they all know what's going to happen. Like helping keep like an eye on Scott.
I think it's so funny. I think it's so funny. The other thing I really want to say about this movie is, oh my goodness, the costume department for the elves snaps. I was like looking at all of them. I'm like, I want all these Christmas outfits.
I love Judy's.
I want Santa Claus's pajamas.
Yes. The Disney store a couple years ago had them for sale, and I wanted them so badly because my initials are Santa Claus.
And my initials are Mrs. Claus. Yeah.
Our initials are literally Santa Claus and Mrs. Claus.
And
I'm a little jealous.
Yes. Yep.
It's my favorite fact.
Yeah.
But them silk jammies.
Oh my God, they look so comfortable.
Just silk jammies. You're gonna be like smooth bread and butter in bed.
Not that type of podcast, Jonelle.
I'm saying it's wonderful.
What else did I want to say about this movie?
I just kind of ruined it.
What were your thoughts on the effects, though? Like,
I only really had a problem with one of the effects.
Don't tell me it was him going down the little pipe.
Okay, like that didn't even bother me. So for the most part, they animated like the reindeer super well. There was one scene where they did a close up of one of the reindeer, and I was like, "Wait, that's stuffed. Like that's a stuffed reindeer, like not CGI. It's just a stuffed reindeer." But they glanced over it so fast that I was like, "Okay." Like it didn't take my enjoyment out of the movie, but I was just like, "Odd choice," but go on.
I think it's something like going forward, especially when we hit next week, like talking about Santa Claus 2. How much both effect wise and like scene wise and acting wise, like story wise, they're able to bring forth so much Christmas magic into the show where it really does make Christmas feel like such like a magical time of year in a way that I feel like most Christmas movies don't.
Okay, I got a funny question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you ever, as a kid, go to Google Earth on your school computer every time after you watch this movie to try and find the North Pole?
Oh no.
I thought you were going to bring up the the NORAD Santa tracking that's on every New Year's Eve.
Guys, not New Year's Eve.
Christmas Eve.
You know how that started?
Someone somehow got a hold of a kid got a hold of NORAD's number, and it was like, "Hey, where's?" It was like, "Hey, where's Santa Claus at?" And it just became a running thing.
So how it works is it's whenever like a place hits midnight is when Santa is above that location on NORAD. So it's like, yeah. So that's how like they track Santa.
There's literally like official U.S. like government Santa tracking website.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
Oh my gosh! It like I remember like very vividly. Like this is how they would convince me and my siblings to go to bed, right? Because we would be like, "But we want to see Santa," and they're like, "Well, look." And we would go into my mom's office because she was bougie like that, and she'd pull it up on her computer and be like, "Look, he's in Germany. Like, you better hurry. He's going to come to America soon. Like, you better go to bed." And I was like, "Oh, shoot, she's right. I mean, like, he's in Germany. He can come to America." Which is super funny because I have since traveled from this place to Germany. And I think, yeah, Santa would have a long time to make it to Germany. But I don't know. I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And so, yeah, that's how they would convince us to go to bed as kids. Like, oh my gosh, well, he's in Germany.
And he has to deliver to all the boys and girls during that time, too.
Oh my gosh. I love
with him going in and out of those small pipes to every home, there's no way he's delivering to everyone.
Well, they talk about this in the movie because Neil is like, well, how does he go from like place to place and deliver all the presents? And then Charlie goes, well, not everyone celebrates Christmas, so he doesn't have to deliver to them. And I was like, shoot.
That conversation, though, I really liked how much Charlie was able to stand his ground. Like when Neil was like, "Oh, well, have you ever seen a reindeer fly?" He's like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I haven't." And Charlie like was able to like quickly snap back and be like, "Have you seen $1,000,000?" No. Doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
I think my favorite part about Charlie in this movie is he is Scott's biggest cheerleader, and it is very, very sweet.
It's really heartwarming to see a kid have such strong belief and faith in their parents.
Yeah.
Or parent in this case.
There was this YouTube trend a while ago, like many, many years ago, because I'm old, called the Try Not to Cry Challenge. I did not cry, by the way, if you're wondering. But I remember Matt and Stephanie did it. And there was this commercial that was in a different language. I'm pretty sure it was in Mandarin, where they talked about, like, there was this little girl writing a letter. And she was like, my daddy is so strong. He's so kind. And he lies. And it talks about, like, how the dad, like, gives her his part of the meals. But she's like, but my daddy is so strong that he can overcome it. And it gives me the same, like, feelings of, like,
welcome back, Sean.
I'm trying not to cry thinking about this commercial because it genuinely like makes me like really emotional. And I cry more than I ever used to as a child when this trend was going around. But
in the arms of an angel. Yeah, for me it's just the sad pets.
yeah, no. I didn't cry a lot as like a high schooler or a middle schooler. There's only really one time I remember sobbing, and it was before my parents went to Germany for 2 weeks.
Oh, how dare you, Lights? Welcome to the technologically
challenged
podcast.
But yeah, I don't remember where I was going with this. But like, yeah, no, it just gives me like I wasn't a cheerleader of my parents. I don't think you were a cheerleader of yours from like how you've talked about it.
There was areas I was a cheerleader for my mom, and there were other areas I let her know that I truly hated what she was doing. And there was other areas I was truly disappointed in her. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's been several points of time where I didn't talk to her for years. I just had very strong beliefs as a child, and I mean, I still do.
Which is one of my favorite things about you, actually, because I could pretty much approach you with any topic, and you'd be like, yeah, this is where I stand on that. And I'll be like, awesome. It helps me form my own opinions. Because as a kid, I was the opposite. I was like, I'm just going to follow whatever my mom and dad say because that was safe for me. And you were like the opposite, like, nope, that's not okay. Or, yep, I agree. Or just no.
Yeah. Just no.
Okay. Time for
Were you ever a cheerleader of either of your parents, like Charlie was for his dad? I mean, like, obviously, like, that's like a...
No.
Yeah.
No offense, Mom and Dad. No. But, so, question for you guys.
Yeah.
Because, obviously, there was a very big decision in this movie that was made, and that was to put on the coat and pants and be Santa Claus. If you were in the shoes of Mr. Scott Calvin, dude falls off your roof, all those things, what would you have done? Or what would you have, like, would you have done it, or what would you have done differently?
I probably would have sat in the snow, screamed, and cried.
Okay, I have a lot of thoughts. I always do. I feel like I would like check to see if the guy had a pulse or something. Probably call 911 and tell us how the body disappeared. Then I'd be like, actually, never mind, and hang up the phone. I have always been told don't go on top of roofs when there are 1, ice and 2, snow. So probably what would end up happening is I would call someone and then the body would disappear. I'd hang up and be like, well, guess Christmas is canceled because I am not going on a roof with wild animals. We have not domesticated reindeer, y'all. I am not going near I'm not going near these reindeer.
I'd be panicked with Santa already vanishing before my eyes.
Yeah, no, I'm not getting in with the reindeer.
Yeah, I would just be sitting in the snow, literally crying and freaking out because I don't know how to process or handle what just went on.
See, I would have been too fucking scared to move. Because, like, the whole thing started with them, like, hearing something on the roof. I would have been probably too scared to move. I would have been like, shit. And hide under my blanket, make sure the door's locked.
All right, none of us are Santa Claus.
I would like to think that, like, with our child, if he were to run outside, I would run outside after said child. And if he were to be like, I'm going to climb up on the roof, I'd be like, no, you idiot. And then probably do reluctantly what he did. But I feel like I would get more enthusiastic as time went on. Right?
Like he did.
Well, like, it'd be like a much shorter time frame where it's like, I'm getting close to the house. Versus Scott Calvin.
I would have been a little bit more scared for the pipe, though.
The pipe, definitely.
The pipe was scary.
Yeah.
Although I like the little so, like, how, like, they created, like, the whole like the whole fireplace and stuff.
Yes.
I love the little pot that was sitting on top of, like, the radiator.
Oh yeah.
The heater, and it just bounced onto, like, the stove oven, and then when it, like, went away, it just bounced back on top.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Speaking of, I love the comment that what's his name? Starts with B.
Bernard.
I always have to remember Saint Bernard. Makes about Charlie's, like, innovations. These are some of the best ideas since we invented the ball.
I haven't seen a deal like this since the ball. Yeah.
I'm just like, bro. What? Bro.
I mean, it's just like the saying of, like, this is the best thing since sliced bread.
Also, your cat's collar is adorable.
Oh my gosh. So we went to PetSmart. Hi. To
We went to get a filter for his water dish, and we saw all the Christmas stuff, and we had to get him a little bow tie collar.
Well, I wanted to get him a collar because we have this neighbor who has an outdoor cat.
Mm-hmm.
And I will wake up in the middle of the night hearing this cat outside and freak out that it's Nova, our cat. And I've been begging Sean for, like, months, like, can we please get Nova a collar with a belt so I can, if he's, like, somewhere in the apartment, I can hear him moving around. And so Sean was like,
because we'll get really worried that we're hearing him meow versus the outdoor cat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then, so we went shopping, and I was like, Sean, can we please get a collar? And it just so happened that, like, the Christmas collars were out, and we were like,
Christmas collars are always way cuter than their stock collars. So.
It's true. So yeah, and we just know that red is Nova's color. My parents always got, like, our dogs, like, red colors. They were like, we're the cougars. Bleh. No, Nova just looks good in red. Yeah.
I have Percy with a fish collar on.
That's cute. Yeah. I don't know if we'll change Nova out of his collar. We used to have 2 cats, and we kind of just gave up with them having collars. We did it when Nova was super little, so we could, like, track him.
Well, part of the reason was, like, one of our cats, because of, like, the bell and stuff and the way the collar sat, it ended up causing, like, a bald spot on his neck that he would constantly scratch at.
And it was like, it would get really bloody and really nasty. And there was, like, a year?
It was well over a year.
Well over a year where we had to keep him in a cone to make it stop.
And even that barely helps.
Yeah. So, we took the cat collars off, but, that cat sadly passed away. And the other reason is because this other cat and this cat would play, and they would constantly
kick off their collars.
Yep.
But anyways, no, this movie, I feel like, again, I think the second one is probably the best one out of all three. But I think the premise of this one was so...
Hey, this first time a sequel actually does better than the original.
But it's for different reasons. They're great, both amazing, but for different reasons.
I think that this movie is really good at world building. Like I love the elves, not like the elves, but the elf unit. I think those little boys are so charming.
Oh, the ELFS?
Yeah. I think those little boys are so charming. I say this as like a teacher being like, if these kids were in my class, I know like they're supposed to be like thousands and thousands of years old, but like they're just kind of they're charming. And like the moment like they're like, Charlie, come with us. Like they're very trustworthy and very like calm, and I think they're so funny.
They're elf cops.
But I also love where like the main guy turns to Charlie and be like, don't do this without
elf supervision.
Which is hilarious because I know that like several TV shows and movies I actually did watch had like a don't try this at home sort of thing because kids would otherwise
try it at home.
See, I really love that scene.
Don't do the Tide Pod challenge.
See, I remember I really like the scene where they get to the jail and they're trying like, we're here to break out my dad, and he's like, you're the Calvin boy. Who are these other kids? And they're like, elves with attitude. Like the only time you ever see an elf being a badass.
I think that all the elves are personally badasses. Personally, because they work so hard, they get such little appreciation. But like in the third movie, they literally fight off like giant toys.
Second movie,
they fight off giant toys. I think they are.
But like, I love how also like when they did like the tinsel or whatever, and they're like, oh yeah, tinsel, not just for decoration, and they like start to leave. The guy in the other holding cell was like, hey, can I get some of that tinsel? Like, hey, I want out too, man. That's what I want for Christmas.
All I want for Christmas is to not be in jail. Oh no. Lately at work, my kids have been playing jail with me, where I will get arrested.
I always knew you'd get sometime in the slammer.
Then when they're not looking, I'll be like, I'm free, start running, and then I find a hiding place, and then I'm like super ninja, and I hide really badly so they can find me.
It's like hiding behind a skinny tree.
Yeah, it's like hide behind a skinny tree.
See me.
Yeah, they can't see me. And then they'll come find me and be like, you have to go back in jail. And that's like when I was watching this movie yesterday, it's like, oh.
That's what you do. That's what you do as an adult. You just accept you're gonna lose every game.
I think for me, when I'm playing a game with kids, it's like I'm trying to get out their energy because it's either like right before we're going down for like nap time or like it's the end of the day. So it's like it's trying to like get out their energy. So like the whole point is I want them to chase me. I don't want them to just be looking around because that's not burning calories that they need.
It's also not just getting them to like interact with the world. Like,
yeah.
And like when it comes to like with Casper Jr., for example, going to the car or coming back in from the car has turned into a giant game.
And he knows it because he will start laughing his head off.
Like he knows exactly where he knows what's about to happen because it's the same game every time, and this started months ago.
Yes, like literally months ago. And he knows this only happens when mom and dad are around. Like
he doesn't do it when it's one of us. When both of us are there, oh my god.
So the game, we're gonna use that in like super air quotes because
it's like extreme peekaboo.
So one of us will be holding him, and the other one obviously is not, and the other one runs after the one with the baby and makes like a silly sound, and the baby will start laughing. And then the person with the baby runs a little up ahead, and then the person behind runs a little, and then
it's almost like we're chasing him, but like the person that's carrying him when they run will like jostle him a little bit.
And he
and
does
stuff.
what I call the bird, where he flaps his arms.
And then, but the thing is, like, whenever we turn around because of how our stairs are, it's like a giant game of peekaboo because he's like looking for them. So like we turn around and he'll just start laughing because they're right there.
They're right there.
It's like he laughs hysterically.
Oh my gosh, which is
No wonder he likes Justin so much.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of all he does with him.
Oh yeah, peekaboo. Let's just it's the go.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I work with kids, as I've mentioned many times. I am the only like teacher who like actually like runs with the kids. Now I understand one of my coworkers. She's like very pregnant, and I'm like, please do not run around with these kids. Please do not. I understand. You can stand. All the other teachers are just like, we're just gonna stand around and chat. And then there's me who's like, giant spider, which is the other game that we play where there's a giant spider chasing us. Get this, it's invisible. Only I can see it. But the kids will be like, Miss Megan, giant spider. And I'll go, oh no, giant spider. And I will run across like the opposite side of wherever we're
It's just like how like when
and then we'll hide, and then we'll all like look around, and I mean like all of the kids on the playground will like follow me besides like 3 who don't understand what's happening, and then we'll all hide, and I'll be like, do they see us? And I'm like, oh no, we're safe. And when the kids will go giant spider, and I'll go giant spider, and then I'll run again. And like
it's just like how when you worked at Nordstrom, you would take kids and like run across the store so they can feel for their shoes. But
how else are we supposed to check for shoes? Because if they're too small, they run like on their tiptoes, and if they're too big, they're waddling like penguins. So the only way you can actually tell how good their shoes are is if you run with them, not walk. Because like you've worn shoes that are too big for you. You can handle it, but like it's not going to get you anywhere. And shoes that are too tight, you're not going to move very fast. And the kids aren't going to tell me that. Or if there's like something weird with the shoe, the best way to know is if I watch their feet go fast. And so, yeah, I would like literally, like in Nordstrom, in the kids section, run across all the way to, I think it was active wear at the time, and run all the way back. And yeah, I was known as like the best shoe keeper at Nordstrom Kids because I would do that, and parents are like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, look," and I will like explain the difference, and they're like, "Oh, yeah."
But anyways, we'll see you next week, friends, for Santa Claus 2.
The best one.
The very much though, the best one.
I don't know. We'll see what future Megan thinks.
Bye, friends.
Bye, friends.